Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And we're now joined over the phone by His Excellency Dr. Hussein Khaled, the former Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research. Dr. Khaled, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, now, if we are looking back at the educational sector over the past 10 years now, one of the main concerns for the Egyptian society was the development in the health sector and the educational sector in specific. Now, how would you assess the developments and achievements over the past 10 years? Was it more in the elementary or secondary or higher educational periods? I mean, how would you assess the educational process so far over the past 10 years?
You know that education, health, and research are now on the top of the agenda of the administration. And according to the vision of 2030, sustainable goals in health and education are of paramount importance for Egypt, because, you know, building the human beings is even more beneficial than building the infrastructure. And we are all happy with the development that happened in the last 10 years in the field of education, and especially for higher education. We had now a larger number of governmental, non-profit, and private universities, totaling amount to 85 universities, which is very near to the world standards. It said that there must be one university for 1 million population. And now we are approaching this magic number, and I think that also, in addition to increasing the quantity of universities, we are also seeing a rise in the quality of the education provided to the students in our universities in Egypt.
Your Excellency, now, you spoke about increasing the quantity and the quality of the educational system, especially for higher education and scientific research. But if we talk about the collaboration with international universities, what are the pros and cons? I mean, does that take away from the quality of our national universities? How can we make sure that we get almost all of the pros and really try and eliminate some of the cons? Is everybody getting a good, proper quality education, even within the national universities as well?
Well, you know that always international collaboration in any field of life is very important, not even for developing countries like Egypt, but also for the developed countries, because every nation and every region can gain more knowledge and more experience from other countries around or in remote areas. And I think that this is very important, but as anything in life, there is pros and cons, and I think that the pros is important because it will lead to more and more development of the expertise and the level of research in particular. Of course, there are some side effects, which is the brain migration. And now, for example, in the medical field, due to the increased number of brain drainage from for doctors, for Egyptian doctors, to other countries, due to their good level of education, I think that we have to follow a retention policy in order to keep our doctors to live here in Egypt and to practice their, their job. And as I told you before, everything has two faces of the coin, and we must make benefit of the good things and try to avoid the side effects of any international collaboration.
Dr. Khaled, many of our universities really climbed up the world rankings in terms of the Arab world or Africa or the international universities as well. But the scientific research is really quite, I mean, it did, a lot of Egyptian research papers and studies have really got a lot of accolades and being recognized nationally and internationally. If we're talking about the migration of our scholars and our brains, now how can we make the best use of these scientific research studies and make it more relevant to our local industries and the respective sectors as well?
Well, the kind of research that is demand-driven is more important for our country. And I think that the new strategy of the Ministry of Higher Education that aimed to make regional collaboration. They divide Egypt into 6 or 7 regions, and they are trying to let the universities in every region collaborate and integrate their work together and try to see what are the needs for this particular region, and so can adjust the kind of research into this direction. Research is important because it is the only thing that leads to the development of any country in all aspects of life. And for example, it also helps in having a high ranking of our universities and the different ranking systems, like the Shanghai ranking system, like the Times Higher Education, the QS, the Spanish, the American. All kinds of ranking systems are important to follow and to see the parameters and the KPIs of each system and try to adjust the policies and the research to this direction. This will help also in promoting foreign students to come to live and study in our universities. And this will lead to the rise of the kind of money that we need to emphasize or to bolster our economy.
Your Excellency, now, when we first started working on developing the educational system, now we looked at many different examples, international educational systems, and most notably it was the Japanese experiment as well. How successful was it not?
Well, it is successful, of course, but it needs to be improved more and more. And I think that the level or the standard of the students coming out of these schools are example of how bright this policy was. And but however, it is not, it needs to be more developed and more expanding into other parts of the country.
Dr. Khaled, during the coronavirus pandemic, there was a lot of dependency, obviously, on e-learning, and everybody was really very pleased and satisfied with that leap that we took in terms of our educational process. Now, did we really build on that? Are we still pursuing an e-learning way of education? Where's that leading us to?
Well, it was a very golden chance to have these circumstances where people were obliged to separate and to be isolated. and this led to the development of the live online education. And of course, now we are having what is called the blended learning, where part of the time of the students are developed while they are at home and studying and seeing the virtual lectures and presentations, and at the same time they must attend physically in their faculties. And I think that this is going to improve on the long term the level of the students, and also this become a trend, even not for the students, but for some employees and some professions that now spend more time at home and working online, and this will lead to the having less problems in the traffic and the consumption of electricity and of the buildings. And I think that all the world now are going in that direction, especially after the smart machines and the artificial intelligence and all the facilities that will help in going to this direction. And Egypt is a good example for this. We have the smart and the digital government now, and most of our routine work, which we are used to do physically and go and stay for hours in the different institutions, now it is more easy to do this while at home.
Your Excellency, now, when we speak about upgrading or really strengthening the level and the quality of education that students and learners are getting, but the government also exerted a lot of effort in raising the standards and levels of the teachers and the tutors, releasing and launching many initiatives on different platforms. Now, how effective have all these efforts been in terms of really raising the levels of the teachers and the trainers around the country?
Thank you for this, remarks. It's very important. Building the level of the teachers and for the professors is very important. And, like we say in Arabic, فقد الشيء لا يعطيه. And this is important. And I think that in order to rise the level of the teachers, there are three things must be done. Increase the salaries, having kind of TOT for them in order to gain more knowledge and experience. And lastly, to try to develop or to improve the infrastructure of the schools, especially the governmental ones, in order to be able to deliver the message, the proper message to the students.
Mm-hmm. Your Excellency, one final question now. It has been for decades one of the biggest fears for Egyptian students of the secondary education. Secondary education has been a boogeyman, really, for Egyptian students. How much have we been able to eradicate such a fear for the national secondary education?
Well, this is a real problem. And there are a lot of experiments in the past 10 or 20 years. And, we are still trying and searching for the optimum way to develop the policy, especially of the secondary schools, and also of the final exam that upon it they will be qualified to enter to the universities. Mm-hmm. And I hope that the efforts in this direction will continue. And there are now many ideas, and I think in the New Republic and the near future, there will be major shifts in this direction.
His Excellency Dr. Hussein Khaled, former Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this evening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's check out this report regarding Egypt really joining a global partnership and establishing a global partnership for the development of the educational sector. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back. The Ministry of Education and Technical Education said in a statement that as Egypt joined the Global Partnership for Education, it is considered as a major step towards advancing education. Established in 2002 and hosted by the World Bank, the GPE stands as the largest global fund dedicated to enhancing education in lower-income countries and operates as a multi-stakeholder partnership. Minister of Education and Technical Education Rida Higazi said that joining the Global Education Partnership bolsters the ministry's commitment to achieving the goals of developing the educational system and implementing the ministry's strategic plan 2024-2029. According to the GPE's website, the partnership's mission revolves around mobilizing worldwide efforts to ensure education and learning opportunities for all in a fair and high-quality manner by prioritizing effective and efficient education systems. It aims to comprehensively transform educational systems according to each country's unique context, using evidence-based approaches and strengthening government-led educational systems. The global partnership brings together donors, multilateral institutions, civil society, teacher representatives, philanthropic foundations, and the private sector to support partner countries' educational plans. Partner countries are granted financial support to facilitate their educational initiatives, enhance overall coordination, planning, and manage data through system capacity grants. Additionally, system transformation grants are provided to drive targeted reforms of educational systems, while multiplier grants enable countries to leverage additional external funding alongside GPE funds. Egypt is eligible to receive both system capacity and multiplier grants with maximum amounts of $50 million and $4.4 million.
Egypt opens up to the world. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi meets with world leaders.
أعبر لكم عن خالص الشكر والتقدير على حفاوة الاستقبال وكرم الضيافة.
Reaffirming Egypt's vision, delivering our voice abroad.
لتطوير التعاون الثنائي الاقتصادي والعسكري إلى مستويات غير مسبوقة.
Discussing regional and international developments. Solid and strong relations on the path of partnership and development.
مصر فيها 100 مليون. مصر كمان مساحتها 1,000,000 كيلومتر مربع. بس في حجم ضخم جدا من الأراضي احنا مش عايشين عليه. ما خدناش بالنا على مدى 60-70 سنة فاتوا إن الكلام ده هيبقى ليه تأثير كبير جدا وخطير على حياتنا ومستقبلنا. لكن احنا مش سايبين لا القاهرة ولا اسكندرية ولا بورسعيد ولا المحافظات، بنتحرك في كل القديم والجديد مع بعض عشان يليق بينا ويليق بالمصريين يعني. الموضوع مش مباني بس، لا، ده تطور كبير قوي احنا بنعمله. فأرجو ان احنا نستعد مفكرين، مثقفين، فنانين. هذا الحدث الكبير ميلاد دولة جديدة بافتتاح العاصمة الجديدة. ميلاد دولة جديدة. إعلان جمهورية تانية.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're now joined over the phone by Dr. Ahmed Khattab, the head of the Sustainable Investment Committee at the Egyptian Canadian Business Council. Dr. Khattab, good evening, sir.
Good evening to all of you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Khattab, first off, if we're talking about the funding for the educational sector now, the fourth goal of the Sustainable Development Goals is free education, basically, for all. Now, how much should the government really carry the burden of making sure that every citizen or every student would get a free education by the year 2030? And how much involvement do we still need by the private sector? How can we encourage the private sector to engage with the educational system?
In Egypt, the government care of the future of education. Because of this, a lot of multinational universities launched and started operation already from more than 5 years in new capital administrative city and new Alamein city. All new launching university work by international education educator, and a lot of this education or education kind of education, especially high education and research, approved by multinational university like Coventry, and a lot of education from Hamburg and Stuttgart from Germany, and approved also by DRD. It's a multinational organization work in supporting education from Germany, and JICA from Japan. And in Egypt we have more than 10 universities launched in the last 5 years, especially in New Alamein city and New Capital Mission city, and in Fifth Settlement also. So the private sector and the governmental sector in the field of education working together to support education in Egypt. At the same time, the government also established National Training Academy for training youth and for training middle management, especially in the governmental sector. Such kind of training and education will support the Egyptian citizen to find a local job and overseas job. Once you have a qualified student graduate from a multinational university or local university working with international standards, so the graduate will find a job by very easy way. A lot of doctors graduate from governmental and private sectors in Egypt, working locally and working overseas, especially in the Gulf area and in Germany and London and also in USA. So once we care of the future of education in Egypt, so we care of the future of creating more jobs, even locally, in order to cover the local demand, or overseas in order to cover the overseas demand. So the qualified employee graduates from governmental sector, governmental university in Egypt and the private university in Egypt will find a job, and a lot of employment fair encouraging to support the Egyptian citizen to find a job and to learn how to write CV, how to make interview, and how to make analysis of the market demand in order to take your career path. Also started operation in Egypt, and a lot of qualified students graduates from governmental and private university. The Sustainable Development Goals, the care of the future of education in Egypt, and the government will increase the budget of education and healthcare in Egypt, because it's very essential in order to matching with the international and the standard, the international and the world standard, especially in the field of education. Even it's a private education in the private school or secondary school, all vocational training also, or vocational school, and in the high education and scientific research.
Yes, but Dr. Khattab, would you say that the strategy, or would this cooperation, the nature of this cooperation between the governmental and private sector, would it actually lead to covering and making sure that all social brackets in Egypt would get high quality education?
Yes, yes. And already the ranking of Egypt increased by 20 steps in the last 2 years in the field of education, even it's private education or government education. So it's international international organization make a ranking of universities. So a lot of governmental university ranking increase, and also the private sector of the private university also as a ranking increase, and the graduate student from Egypt certificate will approved from Egypt and from Germany, for example, and from Egypt and from UN, United Kingdom University. So this is lead us to a multinational education. And this already happened in Egypt. A lot of international universities in Egypt, we have a certificate approved from the High Minister of Education in Egypt, and a lot of international universities from Canada and from Germany and from UN and from USA also. So this leads the student to find a job, even it's locally or overseas, according to the student demand and according to the student requirement. If he insists to be in Egypt or have the decision to working abroad in a multinational organization.
Dr. Khattab, one final question now. Are we also working on drafting and upgrading the curricula for people and students of special needs and the disabled learners as well?
Yes, special needs and disabled people have very care from special representative Sisi. In last two meetings with special needs and disabled, he sent a lot of support, and you can find a lot of disabled and special needs will be hiring in the governmental sector and the private sector by percentage at least 5%, and this is matching with the international standards. And a lot of education also will take place to this student in order to merging in the community to be a normal citizen. In the field of media, you will find special needs and disabled also working in special media as a TV presenters. So it's a great achievement in Egypt. So this file takes care of the President Sisi and also the wife of President Sisi and a lot of our forum and
hopefully
meetings.
So.
Yes.
Hopefully
yes,
so.
Organizing to inform this point.
Dr. Ahmed Khattab, head of the Sustainable Investment Committee at the Egyptian-Canadian Business Council, thank you very much for joining us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you've heard from our guests, the reform and the development of the educational system and sector here in Egypt needs many efforts, a lot of funding and continuous reforms, and hopefully we will be witnessing more achievements that the country and our students and learners are in dire need for. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Hani Saif.